Welcome back to ITWeb TV at the ITWeb Security Summit 2024. Today in studio we're joined by Sithembile Songo. She is the Chief Information Officer at Power Utility Eskom. Sithembile, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm good, I can't complain. It's been a busy day.
It is, eh? But thank you for having me.
How have you been finding the day so far?
So far so good. I'm a bit exhausted because I'm still jet lagged, but I'm okay.
You told me earlier.
Yeah.
Simply, we're just going to chat more about, I just want to hear from you as, the CISO at Eskom, some of the, what's happening there in terms of your role and all of that stuff. So just to start us off, I just want to hear, so what is it like being the CISO of an organization like Eskom? Right? What is it? What does your typical day look like?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's quite interesting, I must say. You never get bored because there are new challenges each and every day, and that's what I like, because I like a challenging job. I don't like routine-like job where you don't get bored. Where you actually get bored. So what I like about it is the fact that our environment is very complex, and you need to be very strategic in terms of planning and also making sure that you enable the business accordingly. As you know, we've got IT and OT. Unlike other companies that only have IT, in our space we've got OT as well. So in the OT space, it's a little bit different. Unlike in the IT space where you can afford some downtime so that you can apply patches and so forth, in the OT space you need to be up and running 24/7, and that infrastructure is very critical, is very sensitive as well. So if you apply certain things without applying or following the process, you might affect the production environment. Yes, so there are certain strategies and approaches that you need to take just to make sure that you don't affect the production, and also to make sure that you protect that critical environment accordingly. Yeah, so I like it because it's different, and also the fact that we are able to make a difference not just to the Eskom organization but to the economy at large. The impact that you are making is also making a very positive impact to the economy, because just imagine if we were to face a cyber breach, the impact won't just affect Eskom, it will affect the entire country.
Oh my word.
Yes, and our economy. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So what can you give us a, hypothetically speaking, a scenario? What would that look like? What would that entail? Like, just, I don't know.
Yeah. So it will basically entail a blackout.
Yeah.
So I believe you already know the impact to a certain extent because of the load shedding that we had in the past. But what you normally see during load shedding is nothing compared to a blackout. If you look at the countries like Ukraine, for instance, they had cyber breaches before, and as a result, they faced a blackout. So during a blackout, there's no electricity at all, meaning that there are a whole lot of things that are not working. Your security is at stake. In our space, even human life is at stake.
Yeah.
So in the OT space, availability and human life takes precedence. So if you affect availability and the human life, it means that you are really putting other people's lives at stake. Yeah, that is why it's important to make sure that you follow the standard protocols even when applying security measures. So what we normally do is to build layers of defense, because cybersecurity is about making sure that you've got the necessary layers of defense by making sure that the basics are there, but not only the basics, by making sure that you've got these advanced capabilities that can protect you from sophisticated type of attacks.
And it sounds like, you know what, like, now that you said it, what keeps you up at night? Because that alone, knowing that you are in charge of that team that has to ensure everything is running and everything is on what let me not speak on your behalf, but tell us what keeps you up at night in terms of security issues or challenges.
So maybe the right question is, what used to keep me up at night? Yeah, because yes, I used to be worried about visibility in the past, but now we have managed a challenge by introducing a solution that helps us with visibility. There's a saying that goes like, if you do not know your assets, then you won't know what to protect. Or if you don't have enough visibility, then you won't know what to protect. So we we've implemented AI and machine learning capabilities that makes the point that we have enough visibility and we are able to respond to any anomalies in the early phases of the cyber kill chain. If you look at the most organizations that have been hacked, in most cases it's because they did not have enough visibility. By the time they realize that they've been hacked, that attack is probably now on their critical systems. Just to use an analogy for those who are not necessarily in the technical space, if a person gets bitten by the snake, that person needs to know what snake bit him as quick as possible before the poison travels to the critical organs, because once it reaches the critical organs, the person will be dead. Same thing applies in your environment or in your organization. If there's an anomaly or if there's a cyber attack in your network, you need to know as quick as possible before it escalates to your critical systems, because the moment it gets to your critical systems, it's too late and it becomes a major cyber breach. That's how this visibility is helping us in terms of making sure that we are able to identify and block any potential malicious activities. Actually, we have seen advanced attacks that bypass the traditional tools. You know, in the past we used to apply traditional tools, and we're still doing that because they are there to serve a certain purpose. But now what we've seen is that there are certain attacks that are too advanced in such a way that even these traditional cybersecurity capabilities cannot pick those attacks out. And they bypass those traditional cybersecurity capabilities, and the only solution that helped us is that AI-enabled solution. So that is why it's important for organizations to also advance with the times. We're not saying that they shouldn't take off the basics, they should still do that, but also make sure that they've got advanced capabilities that can combat advanced cyber attacks or sophisticated cyber attacks that are AI enabled, because you need to fight AI with AI.
That's a good one, because I was actually listening. There was one of the not a panel discussion, it was a fireside chat about, it was actually the keynote where the speaker was talking about how don't be scared of AI. If you can bring it, like speaking from a security point, like a threat landscape type of point of view, that if you can use it to your advantage, do that. Don't bring it in. And I'm actually pleasantly surprised to hear that you guys are actually, you also found ways where you have AI solutions that can actually, fight the AI attacks that come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And bringing a new AI is obviously not new, but just because we're just hearing a lot about it, how then did your team adapt to, now it's not just us only having to do this, but we're going to have to rely on AI. What was that transition like?
It's actually helped the team a lot. Obviously, in the first few months, we have to do proper change management, make sure that the team understand the role of that AI capability. They should understand that it's not there to replace them, but it's there to augment the resources that we have. Because if you look at the amount of data that we have, the complexity of our environment, the number of users that we have, manual interventions won't work at all. We need to automate some of the processes. In my space, obviously, just like any other organization out there, we are struggling in terms of resources. We don't have adequate resources. So we had to augment the resources that we have with at least some automation, and in terms of AI and machine learning. And ever since we've done that, we managed to take the workload away from the resources, especially the SOC analysts. So they're able to now do more strategic stuff and let the mundane tasks be done by this AI automation solution. In other words, we have even demonstrated return on investment, because if we calculate the amount of time it will take for each resource to do that work, and also in terms of the amount that we've saved for the organization, is quite a lot. So one thing that is important is to always be able to demonstrate return on investment to the board, to the exec, so that next time when you go there and ask for funding for certain security related investment, they should know that, whenever we fund these cybersecurity capabilities, there's always a return on investment. We don't deploy cybersecurity solutions for the sake of deploying them. There's always a business need, because at the end of the day, as cybersecurity professionals, we are there to enable the business.
And you speak about, your team, and I wonder, what is it like for someone coming into that organization? Is it easy to find the talent that you need to be within your security team? And are they not a bit intimidated that you mentioned how the importance of what you guys do, and particularly for Eskom?
Yeah.
Are they not intimidated when they come into that environment that I have to make sure that everything is always on, for lack of a better word?
Yeah. Okay. So fortunately, I make it a point that the introduction is in such a way that they understand their roles and responsibilities, and they're not intimidated in any way whatsoever. Yeah. But it's human nature. When you come to a new environment, there's always that fear of the unknown or uncertainty. So then it becomes the role of the line manager to make sure that they assure that individual and make it a point that they also see the value that they'll be adding. I think the most important thing is to make sure that they see what value they are adding to the overall strategic objective of the organization. The moment they see that, then at least they become at ease, because I must say, at some point, working for Eskom was not easy, especially during the load shedding times. And sometimes we struggle to get even talent, because people associate the load shedding with the reputation of the company. Yeah. And as a result, they don't want to join the company. But I believe there are those who understand that we are there to make a difference. We are there to make sure that whatever challenges that the organization is facing, cybersecurity do not contribute to that. Because can you imagine if cybersecurity were to contribute to the current challenges? It means the board now has to shift their focus to other things that are not strategic related. So we make it a point that they focus on strategic related issues. They are not distracted by cyber attacks, which is very important. Yeah.
And just to hear from you, what are some of the security challenges that you foresee South African organizations face? When you look at what's happening within the cyber space, what is it that a local organizations, as maybe not necessarily as big as Eskom, but what are they? What's the main thing that you think is maybe keeping them at night, keeping them up at night?
Okay.
The bosses of those organizations, yeah.
It will be the attempted attacks. For even in our space, at some stage, I think more than 3 months ago, we were blocking more than 1 billion attempted attacks per month. Yes. As Eskom. Yeah. And I must say that if you're a big organization that has got IT and OT, these cyber criminals realize that OT was not designed with security in mind. So they always try their chances. But because our architecture is in such a way that it's secured and we've built those layers of defense, then we are able to win the battle. Also, the advanced capabilities that I spoke about earlier on, they help quite a lot. But what I've seen in terms of cyber threats is, for instance, ransomware attacks. Those were quite prevalent, especially in the past year. And that's simply because we've got what we call ransomware as a service. So with ransomware as a service, you can just purchase the malware. You don't even have to be an expert. So that now goes back to collaboration, because you see cyber criminals are collaborating. Yeah. So as cyber professionals, it's important to collaborate as well. You see events like ITWeb are helping in terms of collaboration, because we meet different types of cyber professionals. We hear how they implement their strategies from a cybersecurity point of view, that's what we need. Yes. Remember, when it comes to cybercrime, it's borderless. So we need to make sure that we don't limit ourselves as well. We hear from all types of cyber professionals, whether they are locally based or internationally based. That's very important. But not only that, for companies like ourselves that have got OT, Microsoft has done a study recently, and according to that study, approximately 75% of the systems remains unpatched. Remember what I said earlier on, that OT was not designed with security in mind. So those companies become prone to potential cyber attacks. That is why it's important to make sure that you understand what needs to be done in the OT environment, so that your systems remains protected, remain protected, so to say. Not only that, third parties are also a huge risk actually nowadays, because these cyber criminals realize that we invest a lot in cybersecurity as organizations. So what they now do is they try to now use the third parties that are connected to your systems to get to your systems. Just like in the past, they've been trying to get to users because they know that sometimes users click on links. Yes, and there is a saying that goes like, users tend to be the weakest link in the cybersecurity chain. So they took advantage of that. So now they are taking advantage of the third parties quite a lot, especially if you've got IT and OT. Make sure that the way your OEMs or the way your third parties connect to your environment is secured and it doesn't introduce risks to your environment. Yeah.
Sithembile, I would love to chat to you more, but we're getting cute. Thank you so much for sharing some interesting insights about what your role is and what you guys are up to there at Eskom, and all the best.
Thank you for having me.
That was Sithembile Songo. She is the CISO at Eskom. Thank you.
Thank you.